I'm happy to be here today to address you all in terms of the future of our country, the process that we have to follow to extricate ourselves from this disastrous situation. Most of you would have heard many a diagnosis on the ills of our country. I don't intend on dwelling on the sources of our country's bankruptcy. Some may try to confine this bankruptcy to the economic sphere, but I do believe this is a bankruptcy of the economic system, of the social system, the political system, and it's a time that we should question whether we have achieved ethical and moral bankruptcy. Let me take this unique opportunity of addressing you all to provide you with solutions and policy prescriptions as I see it to the enormous challenges that we face as a country. First and foremost, I would like to provide you all with a framework of solutions which is twofold. One is broadly the macro solutions, and second, the micro solutions. When we are talking of solutions, I believe we have to have a holistic approach, an integrated approach, ensure that all aspects of governance are included and encompassed in the national policy. While giving priority to the holistic approach, we also must ensure that the sector-wise approach, subject-specific approach is given due prominence and not neglected. Let me first address the major economic issues before providing you with the requisite solutions. As you know, in the macroeconomic sphere, we are suffering from multiple drawbacks and multiple negativities. We as a country have failed to fulfill the most essential prerequisites, the macroeconomic fundamentals in policy formulation and implementation. We are suffering from negative economic growth, inflation, which some may call hyperinflation. Unemployment is rising. We are yet to achieve great heights in the export sectors. Our investment levels leaves a lot to be desired. So if one looks at the most prevalent manner in which these macroeconomic issues are looked at, primarily through the Keynesian aggregate demand management model, we have failed in all its aspects. The present administration is hell-bent on following a policy of economic contraction as the main method of coming out of this terrible situation, extricating ourselves from this enormous political, social, economic catastrophe. I think that's a very short-sighted, ill-advised, illogical approach to solve Sri Lanka's economic dilemma. Do keep in mind the policy of economic contraction that this government is following, which means an economy of this size being constricted and constrained into a smaller size would entail tremendous social costs. Our prescription is that we should have a growth strategy as a counterpart program to solve the economic ills of our country. Even though our country was not bankrupt in 88-89, however, the country faced terrorism, insurgencies, and wars on two fronts. And we basically had an anarchical society, a lawless society. So at that time, when the country was run through the small paper chit that was handed over by domestic terrorists, and when the economy was collapsing in front of your eyes, and the very social fabric was threatened, a positive approach, a progressive approach, a growth strategy, export-led development, export-led economic growth was used as the main government instrument, policy instrument, to overcome the many challenges that were faced. Of course, times have changed, but I believe the principles remain relevant. Mere economic contraction through stifling and damping demand, through the usage of exorbitant amounts of interest rate levels, which have crippled businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises, which provide more than 50% as a contribution to GDP. The construction industry has come to a standstill. Livelihoods of people have been lost. Living standards have deteriorated. Disposable income has reduced. This, I believe, is not the sole instrument which the Sri Lankan government should follow. We have to have much more progressive, far-reaching, innovative program which we possess. And that is an export-led growth strategy, together with enhancing state income, no doubt, together with pruning expenditure to ensure that expenditures are targeted and objective-oriented. I'm sure that with less pain, with less social and human externalities, we will be able to overcome the present crisis. So while at the macro level, we believe in the necessity for an export-led growth strategy, we cannot ignore the micro level. what consists of the microeconomy is the individual, the household, and firms and businesses. We must make sure that the engine of growth, small and medium-sized enterprises, and the manufacturing sector is given prioritization in our future growth strategy. When one looks at this budget speech, which I personally think is incoherent, full of ideological and visionary contradictions. On the one hand, the government states that the future remains with exports, export-led growth, with the green economy, and with the IT revolution, which we are yet to see. However, by the same token, while stating those quite laudable objectives on the one hand, you go ahead and tax the very same sectors which are the highest avenues in which dollars can be accumulated. Look at the tourism sector. It's being taxed to the hilt. So while we believe in raising state revenue up to the levels of 14 to 20% of GDP, we must make sure that we have a discriminatory tax structure, a positive discriminatory tax structure which promotes exports, which promotes manufacturing industry, which promotes the IT sector and the digital sector. I believe that the incoherence and the contradictions and the political hypocrisy emanates from the mismatch that you have in the present government. You have the funny situation today that the very same parliamentary majority that led Sri Lanka to bankruptcy, that voted upon and supported and authenticated the humongous tax cuts, resulting in a loss of state revenue of 600 billion rupees, loss of state revenue of 4% of GDP, the figure coming down to 8% from a healthy 12%. The very same unethical, immoral majority is sustaining a corrupt, decrepit system which is perpetuating the monopolization of political power in the hands of the people. As 22 million of this country at this very moment remain disenfranchised. And this is why we are challenging the government. We are requesting the government to go for a fresh mandate to ensure that the legislature, which is mandated with the country's public finances, with the responsibility of controlling the country's finances, are given greater relevance by a fresh people's mandate at an election. We do sincerely believe that there needs to be a paradigmatic shift in our thinking. There has to be a paradigm shift. State-owned enterprises cannot maintain their beggar-thy-neighbor policies. We cannot maintain inefficient, ill-managed state enterprises at the cost of the taxpayers' money. But we believe in the restructuring process in a manner which adds value to the country. We need to look at financial efficiency. We need to look at management efficiency. But we also have to give due consideration to the social aspects. And this is where SJV is relevant. We believe in a middle-of-the-path approach in providing our prescriptions to the country. We don't believe in the usual trickle-down politics of neoliberalism and that all problems will be solved by the free interplay of supply and demand. That doesn't work. Unabated free economy has recently been rejected even by the American people in the midterm elections, which you are aware of. Neither do we believe that the command control economy propagated by socialism, extreme state intervention as the solution and as a prescription for our economic growth. We need to create wealth. We have to have a wealth creating mechanism. And the best model to achieve wealth creation is capitalism with a human face. Capitalism which gives due consideration to humanitarianism. Once the wealth creation has taken place, we have to ensure that principles of justice, fairness, equity are taken into account in the redistribution of income. This is where the social democratic approach is the third way, the middle of the pathway, which we provide as a prescription to our country. It's indispensable that if Sri Lanka is to progress, that we have to have sound decision-making structures, policy initiation, policy formulation, policy implementation, monitoring and evaluation. Time-targeted, objective-oriented governmental policies are must. Rationalism has to prevail. We cannot have ad hoc solutions. We cannot have knee-jerk reactions to the enormous challenges that we face as a nation state. Imposition of taxes are used as one of the major instruments of enhancing state income. However, I'm amazed and perplexed by the fact that budget speech has downgraded the attention that should be given to anti-corruption, to eradicating crony capitalism, to eradicating the corrupt practices that we have in our system. Very conveniently, anti-corruption topic has been ignored, shelved, most probably because of the very same majority that was instrumental in creating this system of present-day governance. We have to move towards innovative thinking, new approaches. Sri Lanka has never gone through a time of bankruptcy. Even when we had the Great World Depression, In the late 1920s, Sri Lanka never went through a time of bankruptcy. We should learn from Franklin Delano Roosevelt how he provided the United States, its people and citizenry, with a New Deal. A New Deal that would overcome the deleterious impacts of economic depression. We have to promote export-led growth. We have to encourage foreign direct investment. The 200 garment factory is a role model for all of us to follow. Right at the beginning of COVID, I remember when there was capital flight taking place out of China. Prime Minister Modi established in his PM office a special strategic group mandated with enticing and inducing and encouraging the capital outflows from China, the American investments, the Japanese investments, the South Korean investments to come into India. A one-stop shop was established at the PM office, similar to the one-stop shops that were established during the implementation of the 200 garment factory program. We need to think anew. We need to make sure that Sri Lankans stop making decisions based on sentiment, emotion, a few set of attractive words. Because if this country is to come out of this very difficult situation, we have to make sure that we walk the talk. Ease of doing business indices have to be improved. We have to compete with the rest of the nation states in the global community to ensure that Sri Lanka is an attractive investment destination. Why should potential investors look at Sri Lanka when you have Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, India, Bangladesh, so on and so forth? What is the critical edge that we as an investment destination have? What are the cutting edge incentives that we are going to provide potential investors to ensure that we compete and win their hearts and minds to bring in their dollars to Sri Lanka? We need to have drastic reform of the education system. We must and we will ensure that STEAM education, science, technology, English, engineering, maths, management sciences, medicine will be given priority. Ensure that information technology and computer science has a greater priority in the pecking order in the national education agenda. We all talk of modern technology, be it biotechnology, 5G, robotics, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality. But we have to make sure that such aspects are a ground reality. We can dream, we can declare, we can aspire, but the policy resultants will only be substantive once we realize our dreams at the grassroots level, both in rural and urban areas. We need to focus on social protection. with the bankrupt situation in our country. There are so many who have entered the poverty bracket. We are in multiple traps. We are in poverty traps, debt traps, growth traps. A never-ending vicious cycle has been created. And people are searching for a solution. Not to put a comma to the vicious cycle, but to put a full stop. And we earnestly believe that we have the necessary vision, the acumen, the team, the capability to make sure that Sri Lanka is progressive, prosperous. Prosperity not based on exclusivity. Prosperity based on inclusive growth. Prosperity based on shared prosperity. Prosperity based on pro-poor growth. Prosperity based on justice, fairness, entrepreneurship, and free thinking, innovation, and new technology. We hear a lot of talk about knowledge-based economy. But who's going to initiate these steps? Are the very policy formulators of this knowledge-based economy, do they possess knowledge? Do they possess the necessary literacy? As a country, we have to be more forward thinking. We can't be isolationists. We can't be introvert, looking inwards. We have to think outside the box. We have to think not domestic, we have to think universal. We have to champion the cause of progress. We have to learn. We have to enhance. We have to improve. As I see it, we have a culture in our country that acts as an obstacle for advancement, for improvement. Whenever something new is initiated, stated, or uttered, we have the parochial thinking, old-fashioned thinking of subjecting them to criticism and ridicule. The incentive, the urgency for self-improvement, for societal improvement, for national improvement has to be enhanced. We cannot think backward. We have reached the bottom. We have reached the precipice. Now we have to come out of it. We have to be adventurous. We have to be more hardworking. Can we afford to achieve progress with this much of holidays? Question yourself. We have to go through a process of self-criticism. Look ourselves in the mirror. Look at the path that we have followed for decades. I do hear in certain quarters that some are saying, Unut tekai, munut tekai. And for 74 years it has been Unut tekai, munut tekai. But I would like to add some amendments to that statement. It may be Unut tekai, munut tekai. But please don't forget the Kiyane Unut tekai. Because they were also part and parcel of government. They also were part and parcel of championing family bandism. They also championed the cause of the Rajapaksa family going from house to house, family to family, household to household, person to person. They were also part and parcel of this decrepit system. So let me make this amendment. Unut ekai, munut ekai, kiyana unut ekai, habai api wenas. Because ours was a party and a movement which commenced in 2020 in the month of February. Within a few months, we had to face a general election. And let me tell you something which not many have heard. We have set the record for a new party in achieving a very high percentage of the vote, 23.9%, 54 members of parliament, and a vote bank in 2020 amounting to 2.778. So my friends, as Mrs. Thatcher once stated, I don't need to go on and on and on, as it is the usual way with politicians. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage you all to interrogate me, question me, ask whatever questions that you have in your mind without any reservations or without any censorship. I take this as an opportunity of establishing a social contract. A social contract between the representatives and the citizenry of our country. Because we in Parliament, the 225, are temporary trustees and temporary guardians of your aspirations. And I promise you that we in the SJP and SJP Alliance will always face up to the truth, face up to the reality, think anew, be innovative, and ensure that through our modern out-of-the-box approach that we achieve greatness as a nation state. Prosperity that is shared, not prosperity that creates economic and social divergences. Do keep in mind of national income. The highest 20%, apparently, according to the Census and Statistics Department. The richest 20% has a share of roughly 52% of national income. And the poorest 20% has a mere 4.5% share of national income. That is unacceptable. We must adhere to the noble goals of growth, which is shared and inclusive. I rest my case and I shall make myself available to any amount of questions that you may have. Any misnomers, misconceptions, any ideas that you may have that needs clarification, I'm at your service. So last, let us all coalesce, mobilize, get together, garner our resources, our energies, our sacrifices, our capabilities, and let's make sure that the inspiring, innovative ideas that Sri Lankans possess, that they are put to best use, and let's unite and make sure that the country is put on a correct path. Let's not unite for the sake of unity, whereby we keep on legitimizing family vandalism, keep on applauding family rule, keep on protecting the cronies, the corrupt, decrepit sections of our polity from continuing to rape our motherland. Thank you.